This is a short video to explain how to answer question 1 on paper 3. It's the inference question. It's worth 4 marks. It's this one here. So you should only spend 5 minutes on it maximum. We're going to look at an example together now. We'll look at the mark scheme then. And finally we'll look at a model answer so you can see what you have to do. Okay, so this example is about family life in Nazi Germany, and so it says, source A, a Nazi poster published in 1937. The poster was published with the caption, "The Nazi Party protects the national community." So first thing you have to do on a question like this, always, is read this bit here, the attribution of the source. Okay, once you've read the attribution, obviously the next thing you have to do is read the question. So this question says, give 2 things you can infer from source A about family life in Nazi Germany. Not a bad idea to get your highlighter out and highlight the main bit in the question, which is family life, and you've got to give 2 inferences. Okay, so what can we see in this very famous Nazi propaganda poster? You can see a woman breastfeeding a small baby with her husband. If you notice how many children they have, including the baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what are the things we can start to infer from this source? That it was the mother's job to look after the children. The father, if you notice, has got his hand protectively around one of his children. So you could say something about males, fathers, having this protective role and looking after their family. And you might want to say something about the importance of having lots of children. So if we go on to the mark scheme now, the thing to notice here is that it's out of 4 marks. For 4 marks you have to have 2 valid inferences supported with evidence from the source. If you don't support your inferences with evidence from the source, the most you can get is 2 marks. So you must support your inferences. The other thing to point out is that in the exam you actually get a table to complete which guides you to, and shows you what you need to do. So inference 1, and then details in the source that support your inference, and then inference 2 and details in the source that support the inference. That is given to you, so you just need to write underneath the headings that they provide. Okay, finally a model answer. So over here we have an answer that somebody has written in response to this question, and this answer would get 4 marks. Let's see why. So the student has written, source A suggests that the role of women was to look after their children. The source shows a mother breastfeeding her baby. Source A also suggests that people were encouraged to have lots of children. The source shows a mother and father with 4 children. So you have 2 inferences. Inference 1, source A suggests, and it's about the role of women. Inference 2, source A suggests, and it's about the amount of children that families had. And then for each one, you have details from the source that support the inference. What you'll also notice is the student, and this is very sensible, has done something called signposting. So they start off their sentences in the same way. So source A suggests, that is them saying, look here, I'm writing an inference, and then the source shows. The source shows. This isn't that important on this 4-mark question because, as we saw earlier, there's a table that you have to write in. But when you get onto the more extended answers in GCSE History, it's really important to use this technique of signposting to show the examiner that you're doing what the question has asked. So just to sum up, it's one of the easiest questions on the exam. The inference question, give 2 things you can infer. The way to get 4 marks, 4 out of 4, is 2 valid inferences supported with evidence from the source. And as we discussed earlier, you will get a table to complete. You should spend a maximum of 5 minutes on this question.